This is a Broader Shores reaction. It's like the most viewership this game's got like ever. So it's gonna be interesting to see if this actually like helps the game or not. Here we go. Worst MMO ever, Broader Shores by Josh Stryface.
This is a square, objectively one of the best shapes. Look around and you'll see them everywhere. Sandwiches, mostly squares. Smartphones, long squares. Chessboards, 36 of those glorious things. Triangles, they're
Yeah, chessboards have 64 squares, so I don't know what that's about.
just smaller shards of shapes which, when arranged, make up squares. And this is Andrew Gower, a man who likes squares so much, he made a whole fantasy world of them called RuneScape. He then sold RuneScape for $1 squarillion and bought a square island and a square yacht and now lives happily ever after. Except the siren's call of the square was too strong, so he sat down to make another game with even more defined squares, and the game was called Brighter Scape. Sorry, Rune Shores. Sorry.
This is like already gonna be so painful. I can already expect like where this video is going. It seems like he's kind of gonna tear out a new a-hole. It's kind of rough, but you know, it is what it is. All right, I might as well tag Discord, let them know we're doing this.
Brighter Shores, and it has so many squares. But is it actually any good? Well, come with me on a journey as we join the town guard, grind some fishing, grind some potion making, grind some woodcutting, grind some combat, pedantically nitpick tiny design choices, and then get invited to a max combat party which might even warp.
This must be, yeah, this is definitely Vorpal. Oh, no, it's combat, it's the other guy. I don't remember his name. Let's see if we can see it. Raffaello. Yeah, I remember seeing this guy on the leaderboard. Hell yeah.
On the cockles of my frozen, cynical heart. Am I about to smile while playing an MMORPG? Will it be a true Christmas miracle? Let's find out. So welcome, I'm Josh Stryface, and this is Worst MMO Ever, a series where I play every MMO I can find in a journey to find the worst. Drop a like on the video or sub to the channel for more MMO.
I'm not even kidding. This may be one of the worst MMOs out there. It might be. I mean, like, for games that have had like this, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Let's see what he says. I'm curious if he can say something good about the game. I kind of hope he does.
Staff, ring the bell for all the future notifications, and as usual, a massive thank you to all the supporters on Patreon and Twitch who keep this channel alive and let me keep making videos.
If he likes it, I'll gift like 25 subs, Kappa. I don't think he's going to.
More information on how you can support at the end. For now, let's begin. And let's start with this. Brighter Shores is in early access. It's not finished. There are major changes coming soon to the leveling system, replacing it.
Major changes. So any quick background I can provide here is that we were technically like the #1 streamer for the game. I could pull up the metrics on Solinome, but literally by watch hours in November, the month that it launched, I was rank 3. I beat streamers like Bodhi. I like streamed the game a lot. And then in December and January, I think even February too, like I was the top viewed streamer. We were doing like 350, 360 hours a week in the first couple months. We kind of pulled that back to a couple hundred hours of just stream time per month. Yeah, I put a lot of effort into this game. It kind of helped me. It's kind of the reason I started going into YouTube. And I have a lot of respect for the Gower brothers. I saw a comment on Reddit that said, I'm surprised this game ever blew up. And I would say I'm not surprised at all that this game blew up because this is the guy who made RuneScape. So like, it doesn't need that much of an introduction. RuneScape was built out of some guy's garage, and you think that like a lot of RuneScape wasn't just pure luck. And this video might make you question how much was luck. Because we know Josh Stryface loves RuneScape, which is why this video should be pretty interesting.
With a milestone system, the experience curve is being rebalanced. There are a ton of new features left to add. So I can't critique this as a finished product, but I can critique the experience I had and what I feel it's doing well or not so well. I mean, it's been in early access for almost a year. How are the Steam player charts looking?
That's an interesting comment. So, unless if you filmed this a long time ago, the game went into early access November 6, 2024. So, 13 months, almost 14 in a couple weeks here. So, over a year.
Oh no, they're not looking good.
Yeah, if you guys looked at the year graph for this, by the way, I could tell you the exact data, but this game lost 80% of its like month 1 players by like basically Christmas. The game was actually very unpopular during the Christmas time. It was a kind of crazy, like, it was like incredibly quiet. I could see like the numbers kind of correlation between like, you know, who was watching the game on Twitch and like how many big streamers were still streaming it. And it was pretty easy to watch. I'd say like around 80% total fall off from like 20,000 peak at release to about 4,000 maybe in the end of December to where we are today, which is literally about what, like 400. It looks like 200 concurrents. I'm curious what the monthly number is, but yeah, about 200 concurrents, which is less than High Spell, which is literally the game that we helped revive from the dead. So this game's in an unpopular state. I'll just say that, unpopular.
Good at all, but honestly, after playing for a while, I can kind of tell why. Because not only is there a lack of early
I told you he wasn't gonna like it, guys. Come on, it's not that much of a surprise, right?
game questing content and then an
Here we
immense
go.
grind jump at level 20, but the first impression of the game isn't the most polished. Like how the launch screen looks like a Flash game from the mid-2000s with chunky buttons and placeholder fonts. It's not exactly the most adventurous or exciting thing to start your game with. But a quick note.
If you guys don't understand some of the backstory on this, UK has this thing called the Online Safety Act. They basically put a insane amount of resources and have been kind of scapegoating and almost even gaslighting the community on like how some of the time has been spent like changing and fixing the game. And I admit there's been some like overall positive changes made, but it seems that they've been doing a lot of things out of compliance reasons, which seem to be out of their control more or less. And it makes you wonder like how old school RuneScape still exists in the state it does. I kind of have a bunch of questions about the whole industry and adherence, and is someone just like paying fines and just not following stuff, or like what's actually going on, and like why is there so much insane time being put into this? But clearly they want to go into mobile, and this game has the potential to become more of a mobile style game. I could see it having some success there, don't get me wrong, but I think they're building this as like an engine showcase that was kind of always true, but I think a lot of people expected it to be a little bit more established. And one thing I'm looking for in this video, as someone who's like, you know, really avid player of the game, I did hit 3 level 500s by February, about 3 months after the game came out. And then I stopped. I don't even AFK. I'm not currently subscribed. I paid for 1 year and I left. So we've been unsubscribed to Brighter Shores. Haven't logged in over a month. So, but one thing I'm curious is how much they're going to talk about monetization. If Josh Strife Hades will hit on how their monetization worked and kind of the scummy play that they decided to do, which essentially is monetize early access. Just keep using the idea of, oh, well, it's early access, so we're allowed to make mistakes, but we also need you to be paying us. And this is guys who, you know, apparently made like, according to the news, like hundreds of millions of dollars collectively through the sale and whole success that they had with Jagex, the developers of RuneScape.
Here, Brighter Shores players really don't like it when you compare their game to RuneScape. It's been happening since the birth of the game and it's getting old, so let's just sort this out once and for all. RuneScape is a tile-based fantasy MMORPG.
He's showing RuneScape 3, it's crazy. He's played some RS3, but anyway. It's wild to see this and be like, oh yeah, that's not RuneScape, but anyway. There's 3 different versions of RuneScape, basically. You had the old version, classic, they called it RS1. That's like the kind of 2D sprites and stuff. Everything was really old school. And then RS2 is like the model of like 2004 to 2007, technically kind of 08-ish, depending on where you draw the line. And then RS3 was like this development that changed like the combat engine, like another iteration of graphical updates. Kind of completely hated, but anyway, yeah. It's all the product of a few brothers and some luck, I guess.
Created by Andrew Gower, where you grind multiple life skills together.
Sorry, Dragoon said the whole game at this point is make numbers go up, which is basically all MMOs, but this game doesn't have anything behind it, like mechanics or fun grinds. Yeah, even fun gear, you said. Sorry, it's just like, I think some developers can forget why people grind mindlessly, and this game kind of seems like, yeah, we don't really know why they do it, so we'll just make a game where only that's the thing, and then it just comes across as soulless, right? Like even RuneScape 3 has like a pretty rewarding progression, like getting to Prifddinos and doing some of these endgame quests, like, you know, the Light Within, and I don't know, there's a bunch of like elite skills and unlocking invention and kind of like tiering up with invention, going for high tier perks, and then optimizing your perks and having backups and doing it again on an Iron Man or a hardcore Iron Man. Like RuneScape 3 is actually a pretty good game. If you compare it to something like Brighter Shores, it's a very good game. And I have to say I'm not a huge fan of the like Brighter Shores kills exploration by not making anything matter in the open world. That's one of my main issues with it. They kind of fail to have like ongoing lore that is interesting because the lore is irrelevant to your progression. Um, like you just kind of moving through episodes where everything about who you are as a avatar is reset. It's like you're not a hero. Imagine if everything you did, all the hard work you did, isn't relevant to the story. It's like, okay, you worked a job and then you want to like go through like this promotion or whatever, but oh nope, isn't relevant. You start over. Nobody cares that you did this thing and saved Lumbridge or Artie or whatever. It's like basically the game's feeling like it lacks progression, and it is early, but it doesn't really feel like they're basing too well because of the model of how episodic leveling works. And yeah, it's like these vertical, non-linearized grinds that kind of prevent horizontal progression. And horizontal is like where it's at, right?
The resources, then process those resources into products for experience. It auto features click and wait style combat against low level goblins, a 28 space inventory, and lots of quests. Whereas Brighter Shores is a tile based fantasy MMORPG
Like 25
created
or
by
something?
Andrew Gower, where you grind multiple life skills to gather resources, then process those resources into products for experience, and it features click and wait style gameplay against low level goblins. But get this! Your inventory only has 24 spaces, and
24.
there aren't a lot of quests. So not only is it different, it's
worse.
actually slightly worse. So I make a
Yes.
new character from this character wheel, and we're sent to talk.
One shout that I had, I talked about this when I actually streamed Brighter Shores. The reason that they can justify this is because they actually made it so items from questing do not go in your actual inventory. They go in a dedicated quest inventory. We actually noticed this as another change between RuneScape Classic and RuneScape 2, now called Old School, and RS3 technically as well. But in Classic, when you equipped something like a sword, you didn't have a dedicated equipment inventory. So if you think about it, Brighter Shores in a lot of ways almost feels like a RuneScape 4, where they said, actually, you don't need all this inventory because we're going to make it so that whenever you take a quest, you don't have to worry about keeping track of quest items. Which, in a sense, almost doesn't make quest items feel like actual items because you can't trade them, you can't move them. It's like technically just like it's stored in a UI and it doesn't really matter. You have to sometimes think to use it. It's not intuitive and it doesn't really feel good, is my honest take. Like, I think selling quest kits for a game is awesome. Like, people getting ahead of knowledge and like skipping stuff. Like, that's kind of some of the fun of gaming, I think, is finding these Easter eggs or workarounds and optimizing it instead of having developers optimize the literal fun out of the game.
Talk to Captain Jal in a section which is definitely not Tutorial Island, so let's talk about movement. Brighter Shores uses a square grid tile system. Click a tile, a little path appears showing your route to it. Some tiles are higher or lower than others, like raising or lowering the ground in roller coaster.
Social says it looks like a bad mod of The Sims. It's kind of wild how some of the animations kind of do remind me of that. Like when you say that, and I don't know, I guess I wasn't really considering how true that is, but I think you're spot on that. It's crazy.
Tycoon, but you'll just climb up. And get this, it's
Sorry, we've got some chat here. How many people have maxed in Brighter Shores? Only 2. It's Vorpal at rank 2, and geez, it's been a while. I'm sorry, I don't know the name of the rank 1. Irksome, IRKSOME, that's the name. Anyway, the intro quest with the Frost Knight shows the NPC like, oh man, you saw Legendary Warrior, that's so rare, and the entire story element died. Yep, it's like an unwritten, undeveloped plot. What else was annoying is how the game detects if you're on the screen or not. You can kill the same one with no potions for like 4 hours. It's fine. Tab out once, 100% instant die. Wow, that's a wild bug, actually. I just don't like when developers kind of gaslight, wow, excuse me, when they gaslight like that. It actually reminds me of, I guess, Genfinod, where Helior refused to acknowledge that a mob that was supposed to drop a recipe wasn't like dropping it, and players are like, no, we've killed 10 20,000 of this thing that's 1 in 1,500, and like collectively we killed like over 100k as a community and nobody's got it. And he gassed at people for like 2 months and then patch fixed it and people got it like day 1 that he made the patch. And like everyone was so upset about it because he literally just like lied to the community. And it's one of the worst things devs can do, is just kind of be stubborn and resistant in that regard. Not good, not good.
It's never a smooth transition, it's always a step up or a step down. In fact, come to think of it, this game has very few diagonal or angled things at all. And I think this is because the running or walking or combat animation is fine on a flat surface, but not good on slopes. So they've just removed all the slopes and made everything a step up or a step.
I absolutely hate the tile grid system. When I saw this in a video, I thought it was like a beta development feature. Um, you know, it's cool and all, but I'd say the world needs to be like 100 times larger for it to actually be good in this model. And I mean that like 100 times larger, maybe 50 times larger, somewhere in that neighborhood. But like the amount of time it takes to cover the entire map is so small, especially with fast travel, that like there's no real exploration. Not you like the idea that someone has never been to a tile before is like completely irrelevant in this game. It's like the one of the worst exploration MMOs I've ever played, and I really was not hoping that was the case, but it 100% is. It's like actually the worst. Sorry.
Step down. There's no combat advantage to being on a higher tile, pretty standard stuff so far, but what's unique to this game is the room system. You might think the game world looks a little small. Well, that's because you only see the room or local area
And it is small.
you are in. Rooms are connected together and you can see the connections with a little flourish on the connecting tiles like a jigsaw piece. Move to a new room, it loads up, but you only see the players in the room you are in. And if a room fills up with new
So one other thing to mention with this is how they managed to distribute players that were in the same room. And this has changed over time. Back when the game came out, combat was very gated, you could say, by how many people you were having to compete with. For example, if I'm in a room with 5 goblins and the room lets 20 people go in, yeah, it's going to be a shit show. Like, people would basically join in on friends who were grinding on off hours to get a shard or whatever, or there weren't people. And what would happen is I'd do a 24-hour stream and it would get me like this unique shard that nobody else was on. So I'd have people DMing me and then they would add me to like jump to my shard. It was actually kind of cool. But yeah, really not a huge fan of how they did this. They did add some ways to fix this. They added like one-click combat. They made a lot of quality of life updates over the time, but the foundation of the game is not very good right now.
players, a new one is made. It's basically an instance with a player limit which dynamically add or remove excess copies as it needs to. What this means is Brighter Shores does have a very big, very flat world.
Is there really no special? That was promised so early. That's so sad, actually. But I guess I'm not that surprised, right?
But you only ever see a tiny bit of it. There's a setting to always see rooms directly connected to the ones you're in. I've got it on in the later part of this video, but you only see the scenery of other rooms in a ghostly version, never...
Yeah, this is such a negative, right? Even RuneScape kind of let you play with draw distance, and there's been some like changes to kind of give you a little bit of perspective on like adjacent rooms and whatnot. And I think you can even path adjacent now, which is a good change. But in order for like this model to work, I really just maintain that like there needs to be more in the world. And if you're going to do like this whole tiley thing, you need people to actually like get rewarded for going to things. I know this is kind of a bit of a hot take, but I think the number one problem is that like Brighter Shores doesn't actually let you have your own inventory, and in the traditional sense, like everything in your inventory is not really an item. It's more of just like a thing that gives XP, and it's like they kind of killed the concept of like itemization. It is also like one of the worst itemization MMOs I've seen. Like take something like Diablo with like a lot of complexity and cool unique drops and things like that. This is like the polar opposite. Like what if there were only 5 types of items for each class that could drop at like predetermined stat rolls that have no real variance, and they're like significant, or they're basically not good enough to actually matter or last a long time. The whole loot system is really, really bad. And I never picked up an item after like the first 2 weeks that I played where I got really excited. I got like one epic Warhammer and I was super unlucky before that. And I kind of realized after that thing dropped, and I think a lot of my viewers did as well, that the game was going nowhere. Like, because there's a real issue. It's around the time that Spexa stopped playing. It's around the time that like all my loyal peeps were just like, you know, this game isn't really going anywhere. And it's like, it was pretty apparent like very early, which is really dangerous for an MMO. Like MMOs are supposed to have a hype cycle, but also like a curiosity cycle. There needs to be like the season of like discovery where people don't know what to expect. And if you're lacking that, like, you know, that window of opportunity and like just people not knowing who's gonna like be first to something, etc. Like this game was like 0 RNG in things that were interesting. Like the short term lacked anything exciting, but the long term lacked even more. It was like a fail in more ways than one.
Players or NPCs. The square grid movement system, combined with the very limited view of only the room you're in, means two things. First, there's no verticality. Maps or rooms don't cross over or under each other. There's no multi-layered rooms. Now, there are towers you can climb or steps you can walk up, but they exist on their own tile, and no tile paths ever cross over or under each other. If you look at this game from a bird's eye view from above,
it's two-dimensional.
It's all there, so the world feels rather flat. And then the square grid locks most scenery or set dressing objects to it, with everything following very straight lines, like this cart or treasure chest being lined up, or the skilling stations all being placed neatly. Even in the forests.
I kind of love this because it's almost his opportunity to say, Andrew, I don't know how you're going to handle this criticism, but here it is. And I think this is like it's a good faith video. He could be a lot harsher than he is right now, and I think he's actually doing a good job of communicating.
Or swamps, natural areas, everything sticks to its own tile. There's very little visual flourish which cross from tile to tile or break the grid pattern. This means I eventually felt like I was playing a tile-based board game, like I was moving around an extremely neat copy of Hero Quest, with the DM just adding more table space when it was needed and arranging all the scenery in perfect lines. Brighter Shores feels less like a natural fantasy world and closer to a digital board game. So we chat to Jowl and get asked.
The irony of this is we know that the Gower brothers have been playing a lot of tabletop games, so it's no surprise that this is the case. But I think there's like an element of creativity that makes like tabletop cool that just didn't come across here. And I didn't like get into D&D or anything. It kind of just depends on did we just win? I'm not even sure. Anyway, I really think that a lot of the like success of a game like RuneScape, like a lot of the magic, the creativity, like the simplicity, but also just like the passion. I think the passion that came across in this game is mostly in the dialogue and not in the actual world, not in like the adventure itself. And you guys know me. I'm like an adventure gamer. I like going to new places. I like seeing new things. And I don't think this game really hits that on the head at all. It's kind of the opposite. It's like, oh, everywhere you go, someone's already been there. They've already done the thing that you're trying to do. So by the way, you're doing it wrong. Like, it's not about like innovating. It's about kind of I don't know. It's like the difference between going on a hike and driving on I-90. Like, it's nothing special, you know?
Asked to join the town guard. This gives us our first quest and opens the quest list, top right. Opening the quest list up shows every quest in the game and a star difficulty rating for each one. If you hover the cursor over them, it also shows you all the skilling requirements. Clicking a quest gives you a brief description of it, and if there's an NPC or place written in blue, clicking on that will show you on the map where they are. Totally serviceable way to do this. The game is divided into acts, with each act unlocking a new section of the overworld map. To finish an act, complete the single main quest of that area. You can return to any previous area and do all of the unlocked act quests as you like, and you'll see every player in your room regardless of what act they've unlocked. There are side quests within each act that we'll look at later. Clicking on an NPC brings up the context menu. As default, this happens with both the right click and the left click, but why not have left click do the most common action from the menu and right click bring up the menu itself? Well, because that...
You think the game would have slapped 25 years ago? I mean, respectfully, I'm not even sure. I actually question that. Like, competing with EverQuest, I don't think it would have done anything, man. I don't, like, people would have played it for social reasons. Yes, that's about it, though. That's it.
That, dear viewer, would be too similar to RuneScape, so we can't be doing that, can we? You can talk or click info, not examine info, different things, which gives you this trading card-like pop-up, a picture and a text box with description text. Now, combine this with the trading card-like icon of defeated enemies that we'll see later, and Brighter Shores really does feel like a board game mechanically and a trading card game aesthetically. And as someone who's dabbled in game design, board games and card games are some of the first things that you try to make, so I can completely understand why Andrew would want to go with this aesthetic. It's familiar. We now have a few objectives. Get a sword from the quartermaster, then learn some basic magic. Grab the sword, so let's talk about the inventory and combat. Inventory, 24 slots. Why 24? Because 28 would have been too close to RuneScape. Keep up. You can click the panel pop-out on the top left to turn the left side of your screen into a multi-purpose UI. I keep this on the map and the inventory for most of my playtime. So we equip the sword, and I'll touch on combat in a minute. The magician then pulls a coin from behind our ear. He truly is magical, and I like how the tool belt.
You know, money is another issue that I think, like in-game currency, I should say the economy is a major issue in Brighter Shores. It is one of the worst things to talk about. And I would love to have like I was trying to actually see if I could get an interview with someone in Brighter Shores. Maybe I'll have to see if I can pull Pesticio on here sometime. But I'd like to publish like an interview actually with someone who's grinding Brighter Shores about like the game and what their thoughts are on this. But to me, the economy was a huge letdown. The way that it was being done, the way that it's all managed, all the weird like restrictions they've placed seemingly arbitrarily. We have a lot to talk about. We have a lot to talk about here.
Belt screen has a little graphical belt behind it. That's a nice flourish. The tool belt is separate from the inventory slots. It's 9 slots of specific skilling items that we'll find later. We then visit the local
Yeah, this is a Brighter Shores React. I probably should update the title. Yeah, 1 second. Let's see if we can actually do that, huh? It's definitely like one of those things that Brighter Shores like it does like 60% of everything right, and then the other part is seems like way off. Okay. Wait, what the hell just happened? There we go.
portal stone. Activate these for free, then open your magic tab and use your teleport spell to return to any activated portal. Each act has a portal stone that you can unlock, and you can teleport to them for free. And some of you might be thinking, that's very similar to the lodestone network from RuneScape 3. But no, shut up. It's not. These aren't lodestones, they're portals.
It's the exact same.
So I pick up this cabbage for old time's sake, but Brighter Shores has a new vegetable, while RuneScape...
This sounds really bad, but it's like they took all the bad things from RuneScape and none of the good ones. Is that a bad thing to say?
May have made the cabbage
bad?
famous. Here
Horrible?
we have
True?
leeks. In fact, the games team all have leek-based names, and you'll find most enemies drop leeks early on. Look at Andrew trying to get the kids to eat their vegetables. What a good man. Now we learn the Sense spell, which is bound to spacebar. Pressing it highlights every interactable thing in the current room. NPCs, items, skilling stations.
This concept is alright, but also it kind of kills the whole adventure sense. Adventure sense, get it?
Enemies, bank rifts. It's a very useful spell. Then this alarm bell rings. We have to repel a goblin attack. This means rallying the local troops, helping this ranger find the bow she lost down the back of her bunk bed. And this shows us that quest items like the bow we've just found don't use your inventory. Instead, they have a unique quest item slot within the quest description, which going...
Yeah, this is what we were talking about earlier. Like, in the original RuneScape, you had 30 inventory spaces, but inventory quest items, they all stuck there. RuneScape 2, they moved the equipment screen out. So when you equipped like a helmet, the helmet wasn't in your inventory and you got that inventory slot back. But they took away 2 inventory spaces in exchange. That's why I said Brighter Shores is kind of like RuneScape 4. Because they took your inventory of 28 and equipped items. They gave you the equipped items again. But now we don't even get to get quest items. So they brought it down even more to 24.
Going completely against what God intended is not made up of squares. Look at that shape. Heresy. So we hand the bow back, go and repel the goblin invasion, so behold,
Hexagons.
Combat.
Behold. Amazing.
Wait, sorry, that's footage from RuneScape. Brighter Shores, behold, combat.
Huh. It doesn't look at all similar, does it?
Right, should probably talk about combat, shouldn't we? This is
Probably,
the weapon
probably.
screen. You can have 3 weapons equipped at any time.
Like,
A
is he gonna
single hand
talk?
and shield set, a 2-handed melee weapon, and a ranged weapon. While in combat,
Can we talk about how bad combat is? Or is that not acceptable? Man, I had so much hope for this game. Kinda irks me.
you cannot change or equip new armor or new weapons, but you can freely switch between the 3 sets you had previously equipped. Different weapons have different attack speeds, and amazingly, and against years of video game training and logic, the 2-handed weapon actually attacks slightly faster than most 1-handed weapons. The trade-off being you lose the defensive buff of a shield, which, as we'll see later, is kind of needed. A weapon will show you its
Oh god, if they're gonna talk about the combat imbalance, that's cool too, but not like a major issue, but man, what were they thinking?
impact damage at the top, and then if it has an element, it will show a percentage
I think so,
chance.
Social, yes.
This is the chance that any hit with this weapon will do that type of elemental damage instead of normal impact damage. So if you have an ice sword, it's not necessarily a sword of ice, it's a sword which is cold a certain percent of the time. Most enemies won't aggro on you. The
Yeah, attack speed is a thing, right, based on the weapon. That's why people said, like, in a lot of, like, for example, Hopeport, based on, like, the monsters that you fight at high level, it can be like better to be on a different class, like the Frost Warrior or Knight or whatever it's called, um, versus like the Hammer Mage. Also, what is up with the class names? Really strange.
Ones that do have a little exclamation mark pop up above them. When you start combat, you can choose which weapon you want to start the attack with and then just kind of wait for hits to happen. I know that Brighter Shore's player base get annoyed when you compare it to RuneScape, but what else am I going to compare this to? Come on. Work with me here. But what about ranged weapons? Can you kite enemies around or safe spot them? Well, kind of, but also no. See, ranged weapons work like this. Depending on the ranged weapon you have equipped, you only have 3 or 4 ammo for it at any time. They are designed to grab the enemy's attention from at least a 5-tile range, fire off the ammo they have until the enemy is...
I mean, we're talking about the different classes and like their throwing weapons, but like, how do you take something like RuneScape and make it even more simple? It's insane. It's just crazy. I hope it's like their dream, and I hope they like doing it. That's what I hope at the end of the day. I don't get it.
Within melee range, and then you switch to your melee weapon anyway, so you can't be a pure ranger. Then, whenever a fight ends, you recover all your health and all of your ranged ammo. But it's got to be more complex than that, right? Well, kind of. Most weapons will have...
No, it's not. It's literally not. You get free HP for winning a fight. Health is a joke. Health is a timer. Your bar means nothing. Your HP means nothing. If you have health points, they mean nothing. It's literally all moot. It doesn't even matter. There's no PvP. Nothing. None of it matters.
Have an elemental power. You can see what elemental infusion enemy attacks have by clicking on the enemy portrait while in combat, and every piece of armor shows the defenses it provides against each element. The damage types are impact, which is just being slapped, then ice, nature, lightning, fire, and necrotic. However, Brighter Shores is cool and edgy and special, so has renamed these to all end in the letters AE. So instead of ice, you have Cryone. Instead of nature, you have Arbore.
Thank
and
you.
then Tempeste, Inferno.
Thank you for making us laugh about something. Tempeste. The emphasis. Cryone.
And Necrome, because, you know, that makes it cool. The combat UI also has space for special attacks.
I'm sorry, but is that not like the most British thing ever?
Which aren't in the game yet, so it's literally just a click and wait system with the occasional potion chug, and we'll get to potions later. So for armor, just equip the best against whatever element you know you're about to be facing, and for weapons, just equip the best as long as the enemy isn't immune to it and you'll be fine. But what is best? We'll get to that soon, because that's an issue I have with the game later. Right now, combat is only one-on-one. Multiple players cannot fight the same enemy, multiple enemies cannot attack you. They clearly operate on the honor system. Kind of like, nope, I'm not going to say it, it's too easy. Winning any fight gives you combat experience, which levels your generic combat level. It's an overall level for every star.
It's in the title, Brighter Shores. Brighter Shores. This is the game that I basically went to 2,000 to 3,000 followers on my Twitch because of this game. Believe it or not, for like 2 months, I had like over 100 viewer average streaming this. Like, we became the Brighter Shores guy for like a brief window in time. But it's technically part of what pulled me away from Black Desert, the content creator program. I found like some small success from it, but I kind of felt torn because, yeah, anyway, we can talk about that later.
Dial. To see what you should be fighting, open your profession window and click on the combat icon. This is a list of all the enemies in the game and their level. If you've discovered an enemy, you can click on the map icon by the...
I honestly don't think they ever did anything with the tower. Can someone in chat confirm? Is there any purpose to the tower? There's like a second teleport in Hopeport, but that's just like from a quest, right? Is there anything in game?
The enemy to show where in the world it is. And the little white card next to it, that's the first kill bonus. The first time you kill a new enemy, you get a rather substantial experience point boost. So it's worth hunting and killing everything. We'll come back.
Social, I'll just say, when most people in your chat are talking about Brighter Shores, the game came out on my birthday, and it's like, RuneScape was a bit of my legacy, as we often say. And, yeah, when you see like 300 people join your stream without raids, it gets a little bit to your head, dude. But not in the sense that like you want to play the game that you don't like. It's more that you want to like the game that you're playing. It's a very interesting thing. It's probably the same thing that happens to like big content creators like Asmongold, who like will have an opinion, but it doesn't really matter what his opinion is because he's like becoming his chat, you know. But it's not that Brighter Shores was like more interesting than BDO. It's that I wanted to be in the. I mean, I love playing new MMOs in general, first of all. And this was a lot of the curiosity driven thing. Like the first week or so was a lot of adventure. Until we kind of understood that long term didn't matter, the game actually had a lot of potential. We didn't know anything about the game. They kept it like full NDA. So I think the stream itself was discovering what the game even was. And a lot of disappointment, honestly. Like from hitting level 500 and realizing that like none of it mattered, that the money didn't really transfer over well. We'll get into like that type of skilling. I'm curious if he gets into long term at all, but we'll check that later. It's a big part of it though. Happy birthday. Oh, what the fuck? I'm being attacked. Two minutes on my buffs are shameless. Damn it. I'm dead. Fed to mobs? No. Okay, good. Thank you for not feeding me, bro. That's on some random ass server. Killed by opponents, still 32%. Sorry, we just got PvP'd.
Back to professions later, but for now, we help a guy I can only describe as a pimp move some cargo to the town square, and in return he teaches us the Storage Rift spell, which lets you activate a Storage Rift tile as a bank to deposit storage items. Think of them like fast deposit boxes in another not similar game. But how does banking work? Well, we'll get to that soon. Look, Brighter Shores is a game with a lot of systems which all kind of stack and combine, so there's no real way to ease you into them without explaining all of them at once, so I'm just trying to pace myself here. One of the guards got injured during the goblin attack, so
They say it hasn't been updated. And will come with the milestone update. Yeah, milestone's just like the big project that really hasn't been labeled yet, huh?
so we need to make a healing potion. This
We
means
don't know when
chatting
it's
to
coming.
Ebsworth, the apothecary. He sends us to get some kelp from the West Beach. This sends us into more goblin fights, and unless you deliberately walk around and interrupt the attack animation, you really can't lose. I also like how I'm still named Anonymous Player. You don't earn a name until you've saved this guard. We make our way to the beach, and as we go, see the stuff with question marks above them? These are enemies, profession items, or skilling stations that we've not discovered yet, so click on them to discover them, which adds them to your profession list and unlocks the map icon within that list. Like how once you've discovered a flounder fish, it will show up as discovered in the fishing profession. But notice how I've also discovered higher levels of that fish now too. Don't worry, I'll explain layers and variants later because it's part of the game. We forage.
Did you make the cap like 30% for mid game? Oh, for a BDO, 100%. 100%. Yo, Dread Sigma, what's up, dude?
For brown kelp by clicking on this tile, and this increases our forage skill. Then we return to the potion maker, use the brown kelp to make a potion, which increases our potion making skill, give this to the guard, which increases our giving guards potion skills. Then we learn the immunity spell, which you can cast outside of combat to prevent combat happening for a while, or inside combat by clicking the little central red button to escape. It only takes a few seconds to cast. The captain then tells us to advance the main quest, we need to train our combat level to 15 and then our total home port level to 40. This means all professions inherent to the home port area, because professions are area specific. For example, chopping down trees, that's an Act 2 profession, but potion making, that's an Act 1 profession. So now the game begins proper, and I can finally explain the framework of Brighter Shores because it's literally just grinding. Let's work through the process with one profession because it's basically the same with all of them. Let's take foraging because it's simple. At level 0, you can forage for...
If we want to talk about foraging, this is our second level, 500. I think I did like half the grind before it got buffed. And yeah, I have a lot of interesting things to say about it, so I want to see what he's going to say.
brown kelp. This just means clicking the brown kelp respawns until you have gained enough experience to reach level 2 and unlock creamy wall plant. These need secateurs to gather, so go and buy them from the foraging shop. Then go click on creamy wall plant until you reach level 4. Then go and click on white periwinkle until you reach level 6. Then go and click on crooked goat horn until you reach level 8. Then go and click on horn shells until you reach level 10. Are you getting the vibe of where we're going with this?
Wait till you get to the fact that like literally a brown kelp is the same as like a golden kelp or whatever, you know? It's all the same thing. It's like literally the same thing. There's no difference. There's no time difference even harvesting it. You don't get anything when you level up for foraging. You never feel stronger for any of the skills that you level the entire game, and nothing actually scales. There is no horizontal progression.
At low levels, it's something new every 2 levels. Then as you advance, it becomes every 3 to 4, 5 to 6, 7 to 8 levels. And currently,
He did his best to not say 6, 7. Did you guys hear that? That was really intelligible.
the max forage
Well
level
done.
is 490. But how about fishing? Because
That had
this
to be
introduces
intentional, right?
layering or the
Can we replay that? I think he was trying his best not to say 6 to 7. I swear.
variant
I
system.
swear.
Go and buy a fishing spear from the fishing shop. Then go and click mottled flounder until you reach level 2, then lesser eels to level 4, sandy pufferfish to level 6, then olive flounders to level 8. But wait, isn't this the same place we were catching mottled flounders earlier? Yes, it is. Well observed. But now variants happen, which affect the base type of a thing based on your level.
Thing. Variants. Ah.
Some skilling nodes have a master type and then a subtype, normally the first word of the name, which changes based on your level. For
Yes.
example, the flounder, that's a skilling node, and it's a type of fish. At level 0 fishing, you catch mottled flounders. Once you hit level 6, return to the same place, the flounder place, and you'll now be catching olive flounders for more experience. But if you right-click a skilling node, like the fish, you can select past action and revert it to a lower-leveled version, in case you need that.
Like, talk about like one of the least intuitive, like least rewarding and least immersive game designs for combat that I've like ever seen in an MMO. Like, they didn't want to build a massive multiplayer game. Like, they wanted to build like this weird instance version of a literal board game. It's so
that
anti-fun.
version for a potion or a recipe. This means when
So
you
sad.
see other high-level players catching the same fish as you, or fighting the same enemy, or foraging for the
won't
same
know.
item, they're actually catching or fighting or foraging a different higher-leveled variant of the same thing. This is why the
Yeah, like the combat in this game makes RuneScape's combat look good. That's one way of putting it.
professions list tells you that you've already discovered the locations of higher level skilling things. You've discovered the base location, they're just a different variant.
Also, valid question. Is the mic attached to the coffee cup? We'll have to... I'm convinced he has like a... He's very big on scripting, so he's probably got a teleprompter right next to his camera. And he's probably got like the whole thing just like perfectly mapped. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was like integrated, you know? That'd be smart.
Of that base skilling node. This means Brighter Shores is genuinely that MMO meme of a guy fighting crabs that change color when he gets higher level. Like, I know...
I don't think I've ever seen this, and I don't like the fact that they didn't give him like, oh, okay, he has a different color weapon too. That's good. I was like, we gotta break this down, but they could have given like, they should have given him like a helmet just as a meme, like a really crappy looking helmet.
that palette
meme,
swapping
good
is a
meme. We
thing
approve.
for
Yeah,
higher level
accurate,
stuff.
accurate.
But to have the
Wait, glowing weapon? Wait, what are we? I feel like it's too
higher
good.
level, like,
Yeah, it needs some glow, I think. What else we got? It's so old looking. Is this like the 40s art style? I forget what this even is called. But it's appropriate,
I know
for
that
sure.
palette swapping is a thing for higher
Sovereign
level
stick,
stuff,
yes,
but to have
exactly.
the exact same base thing and then just palette swap it to a higher level version of itself, I mean, that's new. Credit where credit's due. RuneScape didn't do that. Well done, this is original. Now, one good thing. This does
stick.
keep all the player base kind of together with a range of different...
The only positive thing about this system is that it keeps people together. But it sure takes away from like the whole feeling of exclusivity or uniqueness or achievement or achievement or achievement.
leveled players all fishing or all fighting in the same place, so the world does feel kind of alive. You can even see the damage numbers that other players are hitting, and they are way above what you're hitting. But it also means you end up looping back to familiar places often and catching the same looking fish or fighting the same looking enemies again and again and again and again and again. And combine this with how skilling nodes are client-side, meaning another player cannot take your fish, for example, and how combat is only ever one-on-one, and how trading...
I'm almost positive Morcos are family. Or no, they must not be character bound. Very good question. If anybody knows, let me know. But I assume that like you probably can grab it. No, you must not be able to, right? Because like Canape outfit is bound, yeah, to class.
Well, that's locked behind reaching Act 4, which a regular player
So maybe if it's the same class, I'm not even sure.
absolutely will not do. And Brighter Shores is very much a game which you play alone together. It's a bunch of people soloing an MMO, and I've got no problems with an MMO game facilitating solo play. I like when I can choose to go off and do my own thing in an MMO. But this isn't just allowing solo play, it's kind of only allowing.
I will say there is a duo grinding in this game. We had some fun duo grinding bass. You can technically duo grind wood cutting, which arguably was one of the coolest things this game even offered. But the XP was somehow worse than doing it solo, even though it was like 10 times harder to do the duo. Because they didn't know how to balance group content, which is kind of sad. I'm pretty sure every player knows there should be like a 1 to 10% lift on doing things as a group, depending on how much harder it is to do as a group, right? But I think everyone believes that group content should be more rewarding than solo. But they also expect it to involve a little bit of coordination. That's generally the rule. So to make group content that's worse is like the worst game design decision ever.
It. Like if you and a mate both start playing Brighter Shores together, you're not playing it together. You're just together while playing it. You can't attack the same enemy or train different skills to support each other, and even if you could, it would be weeks until that relevance matters. Completing Act 1 means leveling my home port level to 40. That's any combination of foraging, fishing, cooking, and potion making adding up to 40, and thankfully these skills do support each other, but this means interacting with the banking system. Brighter Shores doesn't have a banking system, because would make it too RuneScape-like, so instead it has several smaller banks which all hold specific things which can only be accessed in a specific place. Now that might sound needlessly complicated, but get this, it's also got a bad UI. So imagine you've spent a long day...
Thank you for saying this. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And he's absolutely right. The whole inventory management system is such a waste of time. All the icons are like massive. Like I swear this game is made for old people, like as like a retirement gamer game. Like someone who used to be an MMO player who doesn't actually want to be an MMO player anymore because it's too much work or it's too much effort and they can't read the small text on their screen. So like everything is massive. They take up like the entire screen UI. You're not expected to like actually look through things. Like it's all so slow and monotonous and painful. Thanks, Josh.
They gathering kelp. You can't just go to the bank and give them kelp. This isn't Gelinor. So instead, you cast the Storage Rift Portal spell, which opens up a special portal on special tiles, and throw all the kelp in. This does not go to a central bank because there isn't one. Kelp is a potion reagent. It will only ever be used in that skill, so it will go to your potion reagent bank. Fish, for example, are ingredients for the cooking skill, so they go to the ingredients bank. Wood from trees is Act 2, timber, so it goes to the timber bank.
Yeah, you must have done Storage Rift Quest, right? They changed it though, right? I think they made some change to make it easier to use. No, I believe they did. I'm not sure, Tibby.
Currently, there are 16 unique banks. Then there will be a bank access point to that specific thing next to the...
Caustic Pad saying this when I was playing, I thought it was made for kids, but old people makes more sense. Yeah, I don't think this game is being marketed towards kids. I think it's actually being marketed towards really old, like senile people. Senile is maybe a bit aggressive, but people who just want to play a slow pace game, you know, I swear that's a thing.
The processing station which needs that thing. So a potion making shop will always have a potion reagent access point. A kitchen will have an ingredient access point. A sawmill will have a timber access point. You get the idea. This means there's no way to check what you have in...
Okay, here's my other hot take is this could actually be kind of decent if like they had better like combined resources and like a better like zoomed out UI. Like I'm not against the idea of like localized resource storages and deposit nodes, but the way they're done in the game is absolutely brain dead. Like trying to take something like, okay, logs and then something like fish. Okay. Obviously like fishing goes with cooking. Okay. So like you have raw fish and you have cooked fish. I mean, I get like what they're trying to do, but like there's only one freaking kitchen. Like there could be a lot more than one kitchen. Like they could have made 10 of them in one zone, but instead they just made one. So you have all these people like consolidated in one area. Like I'm not sure if they did it for like hype reasons or any reason at all. It seems so lazy. And maybe if they had 20 episodes out at release, then it might make sense. Assuming that cooking is actually useful in other episodes, assuming that these things are useful in other episodes. But like that seems like against their design philosophy. So like there's such a lack of like overall messaging and raw coherence with like the actual game that people like they should be afraid to put their time in because there's no guarantee of any of this. If any of your time is gonna be completely wasted. Like it's like they expect you to just like pay a sub and like AFK the whole time, which is I mean, it might be fine for like a month, I guess, but man, people aren't made of money. I don't know. It's just it's missing the plot, man. It's missing the plot. The game's lacking in fun.
In every bank at the same time. You have to manually go to the profession places and check the access point of that bank. So can you throw equipment drops into the storage rift and have them sent to the quartermaster bank? No, you can't. Why would you think you could do that? For equipment and equipment only, you must
Like I said, unintuitive.
cast the Quartermaster portal spell, which doesn't need a specific tile, you can cast it anywhere, and this lets you instantly bank all equipment you're carrying. Because that's the way we're doing this, don't question it. Now, at first,
No
I
fucking
thought,
sense.
okay, maybe this portal system is done so you can bank your combat drops if you're grinding, but if you want to go and find rare materials, you have to travel out into the wild, then you have to gather them, and then to find more valuable stuff, you have to hold a full inventory and then travel back to a rift portal stone and bank them, and it takes a long time. But honestly, the first few portal stones I found seems to be pretty plentiful. You're never more than 3 or 4 rooms from a storage rift, so they're not really that rare. So let's take a look at using skills in combat. You've caught some fish. Can you cook it and eat it to restore health? Can you do that in RuneScape? Yes, you can. Therefore, can you do it in Brighter Shores? No, you can't. Instead, fish here is an ingredient in the cooking skill. To cook stuff, you have to go to the kitchen, then prepare the ingredients on the correct
Honestly, one of the least satisfying loops I've ever done in any game. Like there was no like the only multi-skilling was like things that were never congruent with each other. There's no like fires that you could go around and just cook. Like everything was so dang linear. They refused to let you have like any sort of like intelligence applied to how you skilled in this game. The only exception to that might be like merchant, but that's just like a pathfinding simulator. And like yeah, there was some cool RNG with like likelihood of rates and all that stuff, but it just wasn't good enough. I don't know. And there's a whole balancing issue with like skills being better than others, and I really hate that too. But one minute at a time, guys. 1 minute at a time.
skilling apparatus, then combine them into the complete thing. For example, the most basic thing you can make is a basic bacon sandwich. Just like all the other skills, the chef skill has layers, so eventually you'll be able to make a better bacon sandwich, but now basic. To do this, you need bread and raw bacon. How do you make bread? You don't. You buy it from this guy, Kevin, who stands out.
The memes about Kevin. I'm not even gonna get into this, but guys, this is an MMO where you couldn't actually get bread anywhere except from a vendor. And it turns out there's like hundreds of items in game that you couldn't get anywhere except the vendor because either like the area wasn't released yet, the content was like not worthwhile to do to actually farm the resource, or like the money balancing was so bad like you were kind of like forced in these options. But it was just so strange. I've never played like a lesser fulfilling MMO.
Outside on the street and has everything you'll ever need. Then you need bacon. Where do you gather bacon from? A pig? No. You buy it from Kevin outside on the street. Wasn't kidding, guy's got everything. Then you use the bacon with a frying pan to make basic cooked bacon. Then you use the preparation table to combine the cooked bacon with the bread and make a bacon sandwich. Then finally you have a completed bit of food. Now, can you eat this to get health back or a stamina buff or something? No!
I hated cooking so much. Guys, I was going for rank 1 Hopeport. And cooking is easily the reason I quit Brother Shores. 100%. It's the worst skill in the game. The most useless skill in the game. it literally embodies everything wrong with the whole game, and it's so sad because cooking was awesome in RuneScape. I was probably one of the first 1,000 people to ever enter the cooking guild in RuneScape Classic. Like, I really loved cooking. I would like chill next to the people fishing. I like was on literally Musa Point, picking up people's lobsters, offering them like trades and all these crazy things. And yeah, I was in the cooking guild probably in like 2002, and I have really fond memories of a lot of this stuff. And to see it butchered so badly and so uselessly, not helping anybody in PvP or do anything actually, like the fear in their design system is like so apparent. Like they're afraid of things being good, so like they just simplify them into being useless. It's horrible.
Of course you can't,
Nothing
because
bold.
that would be too much like RuneScape. In fact, you can't eat literally any of the food you make in this entire game. The only purpose of food is to sell to the head chef and make money
I don't know if I can make it through this video. It's like actually depressing.
from. So you buy ingredients from Kevin and make bacon sandwiches until you can make lesser jellied eels. Hey, that means we can use the lesser eels we caught in the fishing scale. But this dish also needs gelatin. Where do we get that? You guessed it, Kevin. Outside, on the street. Almost all dishes need some form of supplementary ingredient, and Kevin sells them all. Which means you'll be
Yeah, if you haven't done the math, you have to run thousands of times to Kevin. Thousands. Like, you're literally just running inventories. So, like, when we were racing, it was like, oh, that guy's already put in 16 hours to running Kevin runs. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
running back and forth from him to the prep station every few minutes. Kevin, you could save everyone a lot of time by just standing inside the kitchen. So the chef profession only exists to make money, not make useful food. How do we heal in combat then? Well, for that you need potions, which means the foraging profession. Head to the potion shop, read the big book of potions and see that you can make basic health potions, and they restore 25% of your health. You need brown kelp and creamy wall plant, so go forage for those things. Then from your reagent bank withdraw 12 of each and interact with the reagent prep station to mix up some basic healing preparation mix. Then when you've got the mix ready to go to the standard prep station and mix up some healing potions, but you'll need a bottle. So go to the shopkeeper and buy some bottles. Bottles don't get reused when you drink a potion, you just throw the bottle away like the thoughtless litter bug you are. Now Josh, you might be thinking, combining two specific ingredients into a bottle to make a potion sounds pretty RuneScape-like, but think this through. You're wrong. The bottle isn't full of water, and it's called a bottle, not a vial. Totally different. And when you've got a few potions, you can then equip them. You can have 2 different types of potions equipped at once, and up to 1,000 doses of each. So, you know those Eastern MMO mobile potion chugging games that I mock because combat just becomes an endurance challenge of do you have enough potions to survive?
I actually kind of love this trope. It's like games that let you just buy a shit ton of potions and like spam through power issues. They're kind of fun. But it's like, well, how far can I push this? Can I just literally keep doing this? Like, that's more fun than Broader Shores. It's true.
This? Well, yeah. I think this is a point where you probably should have copied RuneScape. And I hope you like the taste of the basic 25% health potion, because you're not unlocking the next, the 30% health potion, until potion mixing level 33, which as a casual player, you're not reaching for a few weeks. Because the reagents needed for that are green kelp, which needs 45 foraging, and vibrant wall plant, which needs 51 foraging, and that's just potentially months of casual play. So it's a grind game with lots of gathering and processing, and only potions, weapons, and armor really matter. Maybe I should go and do combat, maybe I should get a bow, but nope, you must be combat level 15 to be trained in the use of a bow. They're too complicated for you otherwise. So I head to the main square and see a few
One of the few decisions that seemed reasonable in the game. Like getting 15 combat before you could wield the bow. I mean, I thought that was normal. I'm like, okay, I can work with that.
people running around. I discover a high-level death crow. While you cannot interact with profession things you don't have the required level for, you can absolutely attack any enemy at any level, meaning you can die very easily, and when you die, you respawn at the infirmary in Hopeport. Nothing is lost. There's actually a quest start at the infirmary, but I didn't realize this at the time. The quest is way too hard for me, so I've accepted it, but I will not be doing it. So let's talk about quests. Normally in other MMORPGs, like, I don't know, let's just pick a completely random one, RuneScape, quests are adventures you can go
Wow, what a randomly interesting comparison. I never thought he'd do it.
on to explore the world, meet the locals, and importantly, they replace the repetitive grind with actual stories. Quests give experience rewards, which means you can progress in the game through doing quests. But in Brighter Shores, there are very few quests currently in the game, and being allowed to do a quest is essentially a reward for going through the grind. Even the 2 or 3 star
It's insane. It's actually exactly how it's set up. Like, you think he's making a joke, but that's exactly how the game works. Like if you grind enough, you're allowed to quest. Like what a horrible design.
difficulty quest in the first area aren't part of a flowing quest chain with the lower ones
Oh no.
giving you the levels you need to unlock the later ones. They're locked behind at a casual pace, 2
Hundreds.
to 3 weeks of grinding. And that's if
Yeah.
you don't forget to do your AFK logout experience, which we'll look at later. There's no getting around it. Brighter Shores is a bare-bones game about grinding. Now, it does have quests. Hell, it has combat mechanics we'll see later. But they're hours and hours in. So you're going to have a new player excited to experience the stories or the mechanics in your world, and the stories aren't there, and the mechanics are trapped behind hours of grind. Why? The side quest I've picked up needs me to
Why, Andrew?
find a lunar fruit and a siren's scale, which are both way above my ability level right now, so I explore around, get attacked, cast the immunity spell, and enjoy some good old running away. You can also use the mini-map to move, or the world map, but you can only auto-move within the circle of influence. You can see it on the map, so every 4 or 5 rooms away. I return to the training ground, kill a guard, and get a better sword. Now, items do drop onto the floor, but graphically it's not the actual item that drops, it's a small square with a picture of the item on it, because Andrew just can't help himself. The man just gosh darn loves squares. I decide to start the easiest quest, Obelisk, so I chat to the guards on the wall. He's about to open some new equipment, but then a goblin shows up and steals the key, so we give chase, and he's too powerful for me to kill right now, so I spend some time grinding birds, and then a purple shield drops, so rarity. Some items have item levels, pretty standard stuff. You can equip bronze when you start, then iron.
Guys, this is where it gets interesting. Really pay attention here. The shining moments of brighter shores. I just can't. I'm so tilted. I just can't.
Steel, mithril, wait, no, sorry, wrong game. You can equip any item as long as you meet the combat level shown. But items also have rarities, common, uncommon, rare, and epic, shown with the white, blue, purple, or orange color background and 1, 2, 3, or 4 stars on the item description. When you equip a new item, you'll see a little red and green arrow showing the increase or decrease to every stat, which is lovely. But it's important to note, a level 5 rare item will likely be better than the same item in level 20 common. In fact, if you get a low-level epic item,
Perhaps one of the worst parts of the design, by the way. Basically, there's nothing unique about epic or rare drops. They're just tuned to like 20 levels higher or whatever, 35 levels. I forget the exact scaling, and I really couldn't give a shit. But it really feels like all of the gear you get is basically... Like, if you're not grinding with epic gear all the time, you're basically just behind. So it's this weird RNG simulator of constantly being behind optimal, and there's nothing you can fucking do about it.
chances are it will remain better than almost anything you get until you get another epic item of a higher level. I know this because I found an epic weapon and was still using it hours later. But can you make your own items? Oh, don't worry, we'll get to that. We'll get to that real soon. We're at that now. No, you can't. Well, okay, you kind of can, but only with the profession you unlock in Act 3, and a new player isn't going to get to Act 3 anytime soon. Basically, at low levels, you are entirely reliant on the armor and weapon drops you get from enemies, which means get lucky, you're set quickly, get unlucky, and you're grinding for a few hours longer. So you know what? There's another difference. RuneScape is a game with a player-controlled economy where you can specialize into a specific thing, like blacksmithing or fishing, and then you can buy the raw materials off other players, make things, sell your goods, and make money, meaning you have a level of agency over the items you can create and use, and you don't need to engage with all of the game to...
God, thank you for using the word agency. It's insane. Like, there's nothing unique about any progression path in Brighter Shores. It's all the same. Regardless of what you did before or after, everyone does the skill the exact same way because there's nothing unique about how your character is built. Your levels might be different, but that doesn't matter at all. The levels don't matter at all. So why would your progression in a skill be different? There's like 2 exceptions to what I just said in the entire game with like, how many skills?
progress at it. While Brighter Shores gatekeeps player-to-player trading behind the 4th act, which is literally weeks, maybe months of casual grind away, so if you're a new player, you're forced to become self-sufficient at absolutely everything, leveling all skills, which is basically an Iron Man gameplay, but none of these skills give you any real level of control over which combat items you will get. It's mostly luck. Now, I have a feeling that at least some control over creating your own equipment at low levels is something an MMO needs to have from the start, so you're not totally...
This is like insane to watch. I wonder how angry this makes Andrew Gower. Like, do you guys think Andrew's actually watched this video yet? Like, surely they've watched it, right? I mean, it's got 80k views, nothing crazy.
At the mercy of RNGesus. I mean, even Genfenard had that, and that was based on RuneScape, for God's sake.
Oh, man. What a great game. Genfenard still a solid, like, A+ game. It actually had so many good mechanics, and, I'd say the game was not far from being a good one.
Push through the combat grind to level 10, return to the obelisk and kill the goblin for the key, open the chest and get given a mallet and a task. Go to the homeport obelisk and enchant it, so I run off to find the obelisk. But I don't know where it is, so I get lost. I run into the jungle and discover a load of new enemies. I reach the dwarven city gates and get denied entry. I find the local restaurant and eventually I do find the obelisk, but I can't enchant the mallet because the obelisk is broken. One of the spikes has fallen off. We're told to head downstream to find it, and I love how you actually follow the flow of water to find the spike. That's a great touch. Unfortunately, even with the spike, we can't fix the obelisk because it's not just broken, it's magically broken. We get given a tablet with some strange symbols, show this to a local philosopher.
Like, that's the other thing about this game is that, like, the quests aren't, like, bad. It's just they're all so useless and all so irrelevant to the game and the skills. And basically everything. Like, there's such little, like, integration between what you do and, like, what the world, like, expects you to do. Like, it just feels like massive disconnect constantly.
I get some more tablets, and now you need to solve the obelisk puzzle, which means placing 4 tablets onto the 4 plinths around the obelisk. The trick is the main tablet shows the positions, but it's upside down. Doing this summons a Cryo Knight, a powerful ice warrior, and one of the 3 factions we'll get to join later. They can't fix the obelisk because my magical suppression field is stopping them doing it, so we chat to the captain and add cryoknight.exe as a magical firewall exception. Then they fix the obelisk, and now we learn about enchanting. You can pay silver to permanently enchant your skilling tools like fishing rods or foraging trowels. This adds a small % experience boost to that tool, meaning you'll level slightly faster. The enchant is added to the tool slot in general, not the specific tool within the slot. So if you enchant your fishing rod, then buy a better fishing rod, it's still enchanted. There are currently 100 levels of enchanting with a boost of up to 20% extra experience. So we enchant them.
Is he going to talk about how bad enchanting is? One of the worst designed systems, by the way, in the whole game. I wonder if they fixed enchanting. It's a complete waste of time, and, like, it's crazy. It's so confusing. It's like they want people to, like, invest a bunch of money for literally no reason, just for the sake of being able to get through a skill faster. It's like, you enchant so you can play the game less. You technically should only enchant the skills that you actually don't like, so you don't have to do them as much.
The mallet, return it to the captain, finish the quest, and get a sword and a bunch of experience. Now, look, if I could just do quests like this, I would, but there aren't enough quests in the game, so back to grinding. Forage for kelp. Then move on and forage for creamy wall plants. Then move on and forage for white periwinkles. And I'm starting to realize skilling nodes of a certain type are all kind of close together to each other. As in, all the white periwinkles are in this room. It's not like they grow randomly around the place or are spread evenly around. They're all here. You'll notice this with trees in the forest too. Each specific tree grows within a tight clump of rooms, normally quite far from the next tier of tree you'll unlock, which means you're moving around quite a lot. Reach level 6 foraging. Goat horn unlocked. I need a trowel, but they cost 46 silver and I have 9, so it's time to make some money. With fishing, there's always money in fishing. I can't afford a fishing spear. With bacon sandwiches, there's always money in bacon sandwiches. So I spend some time making bacon sandwiches, then turning some forage stuff into potions, and eventually I can buy a fishing spear and get to stabbing some fish. Why not a fishing rod?
I honestly, like, this video, it's hard. It's hard to watch. It's just hard to watch.
You know why not. I checked the obelisk to enchant my fishing spear, and it would cost me 55 silver to give myself a 0.4% boost. That's just not worth it at this level. So I pop into...
Do I ever miss Brighter Shores? Not really, specifically the game. Like, I miss the excitement people had about not knowing what was in the game. But I don't miss the game itself, like, at all. Like, there's nothing about the game's simplicity that I liked. Everything just felt like a chore, and it wasn't, it just wasn't rewarding. Like, I don't like how anti-achievement the whole game feels, and still feels, I think. Like, it just seems like the game is like anti-hardcore. Like, play a game like Catrum, or even like RuneScape Classic Preservation. We were excited for what the game could be, and that's okay. Like, I don't regret being excited for what the game could have become. But I don't think they delivered, but that's not like my problem, and I don't regret playing it. I guess I could see a reality where Brighter Shores was good and it would have been awesome. You know, and I'm okay with that. You know, I accept that, like, we put time into it and it, like, in a way it didn't work out, but if Andrew Gower made another game, I might check it out. You know, I'm not, like, against it, but I wouldn't ride it as hard as I rode Brighter Shores, right? I'm I'm stupid, but I learn, you know?
Into the menu and increase the graphics. Oh yeah, now we're gaming. We've gone from looking like RuneScape to looking like RuneScape with particle effects. I sell some fish, catch some eels, and Brighter Shores is grindy, yes, but credit where it's due. It's got a cozy vibe to it. There's a comfort in knowing exactly what you need to be doing. A safe...
Nobody except old people ever say that, though. Cozy? Sure, but like... Who wants the game for cozy? I mean, some people do, I guess, so more power to those people, I guess. It's just not why I was playing. It's not what I was looking for.
net. Brighter Shores doesn't...
Like, there's a difference between being chill and being cozy and simple and boring and unrewarding. Like, it could be cozy and good. Cozy and rewarding. Like, it's not like a 0 out of 10, right? It's like a solid 3.5.
Really ask much of you. It's got more in common with farming games than action adventures. Playing Brighter Shores feels like sitting in a warm, cozy coffee shop with a nice hot chocolate, ambient music playing, watching people walk through the gentle snowfall outside. It's a slower...
That isn't barely even snow. If the snow doesn't stick, guys, it's not snow. That's obviously...
paced game. It's soothing in a rather dull but expected way. Reach level 10 fishing, do more combat, hit level 15, then go and learn how bows work. I still think the you have 3 or 4 arrows every combat is silly design that's only done because they will do anything to not be similar to RuneScape. Then I find the cape shop and you need to be combat level 50 for a basic cape. I've reached 15 quite quickly, so surely 50 isn't that far off. Spoiler, 50 is that far off. I grind whatever enemy my profession log says I should be grinding at the time. Everything seems to have the same...
For reference, I think level 50 only took about 12 hours for any, like, competitive... Like, if you were a RuneScape player, you could easily do it in 12 hours. So, however long that is, it's 12 hours. I don't think anybody in the right mind would take more than 15 hours, even, like, a slow, bad gamer. But I didn't think the 50s were hardly difficult at all. I'm curious if he's going to talk about the scaling at 200, because that's, like, something different entirely, and it's a huge problem with the game. They basically committed to not releasing content for anything post 200 ever. It's just like, oh, you can just do this because it's empty and it exists. Like basically 200 is the 99 and 500 is like the 200 mil. It's possible, but why would anyone do that type of thing? As if.
Same drop chance of any item, so you can't really grind for a specific item because that design would be, you guessed it,
yeah, I guess 1 in 20 was bait.
So I grind more, and even with the weapons and armor drops, I'm not really feeling that much stronger level to level, which is fine because the game currently has 2,000 combat levels, but my ranged attack is so weak it's not really worth using. It's more of a formality. It's just a pity arrow at this point. Finally, I get a weapon with elemental damage, but it's just worse than my current one in every way, so I sell it, then I get some new armor. Ribbed guard legs, designed for her pleasure. I go back to feral beasts, and then it...
That is a wild thing to put in a YouTube video.
Happens. An epic weapon drop, an epic guard's canbo, and this weapon, even dropping at this low level, will be the one I use for the rest of this playthrough. It's just that good, so I'm excited to see how powerful this thing is. I equip it, I go to attack, and watch this! The enemy is immune. Brilliant, what an anticlimax. So random camera thing here as well. You can swing the camera around by holding the scroll wheel down like a button, but if you click the enemy or your own portrait in battle and get the info card pop up, or if you right click to get context options on anything, or open the quest list, or basically if you do anything which makes a box or a window pop up, you can no longer move the camera while that window is open. It's like the pop-up overrides.
Thank you for, like, pointing out how bad Brighter Shores interface is on a game that's supposed to be selling an engine for an MMO. One of the worst, like, quality of life ridden UIs I've played in a game in, like, my entire life. And I was born in the 90s. Like, there were some shitty games out there. But, like, how do you build a worse UI than RuneScape Classic? I honestly don't get it. I don't understand.
It's the game world, and you have to dismiss the pop-up before the world reacts to your clicks again, which is weird. Eventually hit level 20 and unlock the knowledge and passive training system, so here we go. As you gain experience in anything, you'll gain knowledge percent. When you hit 100, you'll get a knowledge point. You can then spend this point on a chunk of experience in any skill over level 20, or convert it to money, or save it for later. Or, and this is what you will be doing, you can unlock passive training methods. Every skill has them. At 20...
Some people completely skip them because if you played enough, they weren't even worth it. But passives are kind of like this giant trap of, like, spending points to not get XP. It's very interesting. They really made you make some decisions in this game, which those might actually have been one of the better things, honestly.
Combat, that's the street louse enemy. Once you've unlocked a passive training method, just head to that thing, start doing it, then log out. You can find them quite easily on the minimap. They've all got a blue dot. You'll keep doing that thing for 24 hours from every logout. So Brighter Shores does have a passive offline training method which encourages you to log in daily. It's slower than actively fighting stuff. In my how many MMOs can I play at once video, I did the passive fishing method. But I decided to do some maths on this combat method. I'm getting 16 experience per kill of a louse, and I have 21,419 experience left to level up. That's 1,339 louse to level. Killing one takes me roughly 23 seconds. That means it'll take 515 minutes or roughly 8.5 hours of passive grind for one level. So you can get it overnight. I mean, at least I could do something else while the offline grind is happening, like play another similar MMORPG. I get some boots from a crow, only usable by a hammer mage.
I honestly think the idea of AFK XP needed some major changes. I actually posted about him a long time ago, but I think the scaling's horrible. I think it's like what, 8% to 15% the efficiency of active gameplay. At least it was when I last played. And I think that number needs to be close to like 30 to 50. It's actually really stupid. Like, making it so incredibly worse makes it so incredibly useless. The scaling, everything about it, is just a huge miss. It's quite sad.
One of the game's 3 factions, so I hold on to them for later. Buy a trowel and my epic adventure in digging up old bones begins, and once sufficiently boned I can now forage for shells. Truly a tale for the ages. This NPC is called Turnaround, and if you examine him, the description says, a bright-eyed navigator. Never change, Andrew. Never change. Now hitting level 20, as the game is...
I mean, like, these are like the best parts of the game. My 2 cents. I think that's Paul Gower's doing, not Andrew's. Just my 2 cents. Shout out to Paul.
Right now is a real moment because it's one of the game's multiple experience drop-off points. 1 to 20 is kind of fine. The experience gap between those levels is smooth and somewhat fast, but 20 onwards, oh boy. From level 20 to level 21 is the same amount of experience needed to go from level 1 to level 15. The next major experience cliff happens at level 200, as going from level 100...
We were hoping you would talk about this.
99 to level 200 in anything takes 559,000 experience, but 200 to 201 is 2.28 million. That's almost 4 times as much. Being a casual player, you can be expected to hit level 20 in any profession, but the moment you do, that's when the grind begins. I reached level 10 foraging, so now it's off to cooking. That means jellied eels, so back to Kevin, the god of ingredients, and after jellying enough eels, I can make omelettes, which only need eggs, so that would seem to be the most time-efficient method to train cooking, just 1 item needed. Where do you get eggs? Are you thinking, from a chicken coop? No, you're wrong, and you know why you're wrong? Because it would be too similar to the other game that this isn't. In this game, you buy them from Kevin, almighty master of ingredients. But remember, you can't continue the main quest until you are a certain Hope Port level, which means somewhere there is a guard watching me throw mountains of hot egg at this guy for hours and thinking, yeah, this is the guy. This is the guy we want defending the city. Then sausages and mash in case there was any doubt this is an English game. Also, note if a meal has multiple preparation steps needed, like preparing the potatoes, you don't get experience per step, you only get experience for the final product. Apart
XP that usually sucks, by the way.
Apart from in potion making, where you do get experience per preparation step. And the final product as well. Why the inconsistency between professions? Well, let me think. Because giving the player experience per potion making step makes it different to RuneScape, where all the experience is given at the end. Level 2 potion making, I can now make a 5% experience boost potion, but only for Hope Port, the place I am in now, and it lasts for 2 minutes, meaning the time it would take to gather, make, stack, then drink the potions, I could have just done the thing I was going to do anyway. I'm sure this is...
That's an excellent comparison. A lot of us threw that very early. Potions are a scam. They all suck. Most of the potions in the game are horrible or way too expensive or completely useless. They like created an economy that was DOA. They 100% did not work with an economist. They had no interest in keeping it all balanced. They just wanted everything to be a Long and horrible journey.
This is useful once you're dealing with tens of thousands of experience points, but 5% as a boost is basically useless, and I don't want to do anything that reminds me of the harsh reality of only lasting 2 minutes. While the profession list also tells you what potions you can make, it doesn't list the ingredients that you need for each. You need to go back to the big book of recipes for that, then just remember. I finally reach Hope Port level 40 and return to the main quest.
Storm, I don't think I've ever had baked beans on toast. But I hear it's a very British dish. Yeah, dish. Is it pretty tasty? Do you spice up the beans a little bit? Have them plain? What do you do?
Are now allowed to leave Hope Port and journey into Hope Forest. That's its actual name, presumably by walking through the Hope Gate along the Hope Ground and joining our fellow Hope Guards. Welcome to Act 2, which brings with it...
Again, everything in this game is named after a retirement home. I swear to God. Hope Port, the place where your gaming future has hope.
Botany, woodcutting, and carpentry. Remember, professions are linked to acts, so if you want to cut down a tree, you'll be doing it in the Act 2.
As if the name Welcome to Broader Shores doesn't sound like literally like some sort of simulation of the afterlife.
Area. Even if you return to Hope Port, there are no trees there that you can cut down because that's an Act 1 area. So this act begins as all RPG second acts do, by playing hide and seek with your fellow guards. We have to track down some lost guards by interacting with stuff, then we agree to split up and go and look faster, and I love how if you go the wrong way, the game does call you out for that. We then find a mutant stag attacking a magical dryad, so we get involved and save the dryad, and the dryad then gives us a mission to hunt down the darkness in the...
You know, some beans are good and some are bad. I'm not going to fault any culture. I think we can all agree that good beans are good. But I think what you probably just saying that like most of our canned beans are just not good here. Like the brands that you find at groceries and stuff. There's probably truth to that.
Forest, and now we've found the new main plot. The Dryad leaves us to a magical cave, and we must now take part in a ceremony called the Pooling. We learn we are a receptacle, a human with innate magical ability, so we must now join one of the 3 factions to protect the world from Vilzax, an ancient and powerful thing. Possibly magic, no one's quite sure. So we must step into a pool and join the ice-using Cryonites, the lightning-using Hammer Mages, or the nature-using Guardians, which are absolutely not Zamorak, Saradomin, and Guthix. And this pool map isn't the 3 team portals from Castle Wars. Don't even think that they're remotely similar, because Zamorak is red and the Hammer Mages are yellow. Totally different. So I decide to follow Saradomin and become a Cryonite, which doesn't seem to change anything, except now I've got a cool dragon symbol in combat, and I can't wear the boots I found earlier.
It literally changes nothing.
It changes to the northeast of the forest, and Hope Forest is much bigger than Hope Port, so I hope I don't get hope lost, but through the power of hope clicking on the hope minimap, I reach a giant hope crystal. We then find one of the guards we were looking for has been infected by this crystal's evil, so we save them by killing them. Then learn the crystal is corrupting the forest, and we need some magical MacGuffins to purify it. Thankfully, the first of these MacGuffins is a pair of beetles found in the connecting room, so grab them, give them to the Dryad, and now begins the adventure to find the sparkly things to stop the magical stuff, so the forest isn't evil or something. The questline tells me one of...
That's like literally more than I went into like with the quest. Like I did this main story quest, but like it's literally like that's the level of engagement of the whole thing. It's like some magical thing that I don't care about is doing some magical thing that I don't care about to some magical thing, or to some, you know, like whatever, magical group of things. I couldn't tell you anything about the plot was, except that it was apparently moving to Stonemont Hill the last time I remember there being any magical plot. But I think there is magic, maybe. Maybe we'll actually see more magic skills. Because right now there's none, right?
One of the magical MacGuffins is behind some bramble, which means we need 10 woodcutting to chop, so I guess Act 2, just like Act 1, will require some grind. This room is also called the Road to Nowhere, and entering it makes you feel dizzy and says, "You forgot what you are doing and turn around." No, game, I didn't forget what I was doing. If you're going to have a magical looping forest room, that's fine. Just let the player try to leave it and loop them back into it, like
it's a good suggestion.
Zelda. Don't tell me I forgot what I'm doing. Being in Act 2...
Just remember, you're a retirement home participant. You know, you're filling a vacancy, and they're gonna gaslight you and, you know, turn up the chemicals a little bit and make sure that you know that you forgot what you're doing.
Who brings new quests. The quest list shows them off, and the most basic Act 2 quest needs 20 woodcutting and 29 carpentry, so that's not being done. We know the other MacGuffins are guarded by a multi-headed beast, and one of them is beyond a river. I then meet a beekeeper and accidentally accept a quest I will not be able to do for several weeks. I hunt down Libby, Maybe, Phoebe, Shelby, Ruby, and Barbie, a collection of bees. Oh, pride.
I didn't do this quest. I don't remember this portrait thingy. I didn't do this.
Shores has silly and fun quests, which remind me of another MMORPG quest.
How much did I play this game and I never even did this?
Similar to it. Then I find the two-headed bear boss, so let's try and kill it and...
Oh, it's new.
Is that...
That
oh
makes
my
sense.
god, yes it is. It's combat mechanic time. So let's break this fight down because it gets a bit complicated.
Yo, Zerker noted on the message
Occasionally
with
you'll see
Taru.
some red
Let him
tiles.
see.
Step out of the red. And that's the bear's combat mechanics. I hope I didn't overwhelm you. I'm fine that this has an AoE mechanic. That's great. The problem with it is when you see it, click to walk out of it. Pretty simple. But I then discovered that clicking doesn't actually disengage you from the act of attacking. So if you click straight backwards, then yeah, you'll walk away from the enemy. But if you click to walk past the bear, while you're assuming your avatar will just head straight to whatever tile you've clicked on, they won't. They will still do the melee attack animation if you are still close
To be or
enough
not
and
to
you
be,
have an
nice.
attack phase coming up, meaning you can delay your own movement by quite a lot. Basically, when you click to move, you don't move. You kind of keep moving and attacking if that's possible, which means you can just stay in AoE range when you kind of thought you'd be out of it. Then when you are out of it, you can switch to your ranged weapon to get a few points of damage in. But if you fire your
Is it just me, or is the boss system actually like kind of decent in Brighter Shores? Like this might have been one of the better systems in the whole game, but there was like no point to it. Like that's the saddest part, is they built a cool system, like for the model that they chose, but there's no usefulness, repeatability, interesting like component to it at all. It's just like a great example of like, I don't know, like mismanaged effort maybe. It's kind of demotivating to see like such a nice system in such a horrible game with such horrible incentives and a horrible economy and horrible achievements.
last arrow, you'll then instantly switch back to your melee weapon and walk back into melee range automatically, meaning you can sometimes get back into an AoE without clicking to do that. Eventually I die to the bear boss, respawn in the Hope Port Hope Garrison, so run back to the Hope Forest to uncover more of the Hope map. I find the botanist training room, I read a book, and why does this UI look different? Oh, I see, we're taking notes from the Adventure Quest school of consistency. I find Timberwell Green. This is the Act 2 town space. We learn they're being attacked by bandits and this guy's being pestered by a giant bee. That's one of the bees we need, but I need a smoker to capture it, so it's not happening. I find a shopkeeper, then a clothing dye shop, which needs the rainbow water ingredient to dye stuff, find the carpentry workshop, then a local lumberjack offers to pay us for splitting logs. But you need 50 wood cutting to do this. 50. So you can cut down giant trees in the forest from 2, 4, 6 or 8, but splitting small chunks of logs on a stump, that takes 50. I will never understand MMORPG design. I then wander into a goblin camp, thankfully they're not arguing over armor colors, then I try woodcutting. What implement do you think you need to chop down a tree?
You'll never
That's
guess.
right. A saw. Why a saw and not a hatchet? Well, it's pretty bloody obvious, isn't it, guys?
Because it's not RuneScape.
RuneScape did, so we don't. I go to kill some stuff to get some coins and finally actually have a chat with someone.
Honestly, what the actual fuck? Like, why? Just why? They were so close to making like a reasonable, logical game that kind of made some sense, but that would have made too much sense.
Thank you for taking the time to talk to me, Sir Gar. You made the grind almost bearable. Then a rapier weapon
Almost.
drops, which I'm told is one of the best weapon types because it attacks fastest, so just does more damage, but it's so
Yeah, Hammer Mage didn't even have a fast 2H, right? We were just kind of screwed on our 2Hs. Like, basically, I think Crow Knight had 2 good weapons and we only had 1. That's what I remember hearing.
much weaker than my main epic stick. I find some throwing axes, then get a new plate armor drop, which is worse than my leather armor because of the rarity system. But there is a transmog system. Maybe I can make my good leather armor look like cool plate, but nope, transmogs is only for specific holiday items, mostly hats. I head to the goblin camp and time how long one level now takes me. 20 minutes of grinding. In this time I discover right-clicking an item in the inventory doesn't bring up the context menu, only left-clicking does. Don't know why. I buy a handsaw and get to felling some trees and notice a strange quirk of design. When you gain a level, you will see the level up track appear, which shows you what you've unlocked if you've unlocked anything, and then what you're working towards. But this track only seems to show up when 2 conditions are met. First, you must have gained a level, and second, you must not actively be doing anything else in the game. and moving counts as doing something else. So if I level up after chopping a tree down, provided I then keep clicking on new trees to chop or new tiles to move to, the level up track just won't pop up. It's not game breaking, it's just an odd quirk. It's like there's a queue of actions which needs to happen and everything takes precedent over the level up track appearing. Reach level 4 woodcutting, going chop a pine tree, but guess what? Now you need a hatchet. Okay, you can have one, you cheeky chap. You've put up with us for long enough. So I go and buy one. Can't afford one. Back to goblins, get coins, buy a hatchet, kill trees. Eventually reach level 10 and can cut the brambles for the main quest. So I explore around and reach Nectar Crossing, which is a timing-based movement puzzle. You need to avoid the ants. Otherwise, they knock you out and carry you back to the start. And this is honestly quite difficult. I get furthest through sheer luck before giving up. I explore for a
It's just me, or is that Frogger with like extra steps?
while, but honestly the forest is so big I have to do what any good RuneScape player would do. I use the wiki, and Brighter Shores does have a wiki. Grab the glowing mushroom, one item down, turn some ash logs into planks, go and fix the ferry, fight another boss. Actually an interesting one this time. The giant mutant newt attacks the ferry and damages the planks of the ferry. You need to attack the newt, then while it's repositioning, fix one of the 3 damaged planks. Actually quite a good mechanic. Cross the river safely, find the glowing fern, try the 2-headed bear boss again, die again, go and make a load of potions again, and while making potions, this happens. And maybe it's a chance encounter. Maybe it's a Christmas miracle. Maybe I'm visited by all 3 ghosts condensed into one mega revelation and very high combat level player. The player, Raffaello, says hi. He recognizes my name, he's watched a few of my vids. He invites me to his party happening in 15 minutes. He's about to hit 2000 combat, maximum level. He's the 20...
Yeah, the whole idea that like the combat was so good, like why didn't they let us do any of that? I don't know. There's nothing repeatable or good about any mechanic that seems to be full of effort, you know?
4th player to ever do so, so if you put all those players into an inventory, he would be the last to fit. He's got his clan invited to celebrate. He's put a shout out on the forums, Discord, Reddit. He's got people coming down. Now, it may not be many, but some will hopefully turn up. He says he'll head to the endgame area, get the level, then meet people back in the main square before heading to the cape shop to buy the 2000 combat cape. So sure, I'll join. That's one hell of an achievement. I head to the main square. The usual fountain is replaced with the Christmas event snowman. Players are collecting snowballs and adding them to it, so I join in. It's fun, even get some experience for doing it. Then people turn up. A lot of people turn up, and Raffaello gets his max combat, and we all head to the cape shop and learn the cape shop can only hold 14 players before making a new instance, but thankfully the main square has a higher player cap. And everyone does the immunity emote and spams congrats messages, and everyone just supports and is happy, and Raffaello is happy, and that's all that really matters.
There's
this video
Rush.
series has been about exploring MMOs, seeing virtual worlds most people will never see,
Gritafina's
enduring
there.
mechanics most gamers won't endure, seeing
Nirvana.
what we can find along the way, cracking some jokes, mocking mechanics, archiving games in some cases before they die, but ultimately, my opinion on these games doesn't really matter because they're not made just for me, or my pedantic nitpicking. They're made for people like Raffaello and his guildmates and the community on Discord. And seeing that community come together to celebrate this reminded me of that. I don't need to love Brighter Shores. You don't need to love it, but these guys do, and that's great. That should exist. That's fine. They understand the game more than I ever will. So I ask Raffaello, as he seems to be the most qualified of us, if Brighter Shores is the worst MMO ever, and he says it's the best to him. And that's all that really matters. So I go and kill the 2-headed bear, I get the magical honey, I purify the corrupted crystal, then I get sent to clear the evil mines, but the mines need permission to enter from the Hopeport captain.
The best to him. Yo, Dr. Death.
So I go and ask for permission, and I need level 36 combat and 45 hope forest total. Are you having a laugh game? No. I do try though. I go back to the goblins and grind for literal hours. I unlock the back alley thug passive method. I spend the knowledge point to unlock them, go and start a fight, log out, set a 5-hour timer, log back in. I've gained 2/5 of a level. Finishing this quest would take days or weeks of combined active and passive play, and I just don't love it enough to keep doing that. So Brighter Shores, it's not RuneScape, despite a lot of evidence to the contrary. It's fine. Good for passive experience gain if you want an idle game to play in the background. It's not finished. It feels like the skeleton for a solid game is here, but it's missing the flesh. Maybe in time it will be added. The community rallying around an achievement warmed my cold, dead heart, but ultimately it's way too grindy for me. I've only got a space for a few ultra grindy games in my life, and they have already been taken up. But I guess being reminded that at the heart of every MMORPG, of every level of success,
community
is a community of connected, supported people. That was the message this game was trying to send to me. And it did. Raffello did. And at Christmas, no less. So I logged into Shores and got to the grinding, but support and compassion is what I ended up finding. And I heard them rejoice as I logged out to fight. Merry Christmas to all, and to all, a good cryo night. I ended on level 26, so to win the video I'll award Brighter Shores 26 out of 2,000. Cheers for watching. Another massive thank you to all the supporters on Patreon and Twitch who keep the channel alive. Check the description for links to the Patreon, Twitch, Twitter, Insta, and Discord. And as always, have a great day.
That was 48 minutes and 58 seconds. That I don't even know. I feel like he said it well, you know, without throwing the game out of under the bus, you know, too much. It's a good game for some people. Like, I just, yeah, I don't know. I'm glad that some people are liking it. The 200 of them, I guess, you know, they're doing their thing. It's a good game for 26 out of 2,000 people. That's a pretty good ratio, actually. Yeah, he could have been a little bit harsher on it. So I guess I commend Josh Strife Hayes for being kind of level-headed going through the actual review, right?